When the exam paper is in front of you and the clock is ticking away, you feel like the weight of the world is kept upon your shoulders. Hence, we tend to make some very common and silly mistakes in our exams. Like for example, do you too start with the difficult questions first and leave the easy questions until last? If yes, you're making a huge mistake. Now I know it seems very sensible to try to get the difficult questions over and done with first, but it's not always a good idea. Instead, while going through the paper, identify the easy questions and answer them first. Because if you start with the difficult questions, there are chances that you may not answer them as well as the easier ones, therefore gaining fewer marks. You may also end up spending too much of the time on the difficult questions and running out of time to answer the easier ones, which could have gotten you more marks. Therefore, get as many marks as you can from the easier and more straightforward questions and tackle the trickier ones later. But this is just one of the avoidable yet common mistakes that people make during exam. Today, I, your host Swastiki Joshi, I'm going to share with you 4 more mistakes that you should avoid during your exams. Next common mistake is misunderstanding the question. Now it may sound very obvious to you, but have you read the question properly? Sometimes even the most intelligent students miss the smallest of details. This happens because during exams, we often read questions in a hurry, hence they can seem tricky to us. Therefore, take a deep breath and read the question properly and check if it contains any clues. Underline the important elements in the question and read the question at least 2 to 3 times before you start drafting your answer. Mistake number 3. Leaving some questions blank. No matter how well you prepared, every once in a while a question might pop up which may catch you off guard. It happens with everyone. But the most important thing to remember is that not answering will not give you any marks. Hence, even if you don't remember much of the answer, try to get down the basics. That will at least give you some points, which is better than getting none. One more similar mistake that students make is leaving multiple choice questions blank. Trust me, it is one of the easiest types of questions as they give you a finite number of possible answers. That means that even if you don't know the answer to that particular question, you can deduce it by working out which answers are less likely to be the right one. But many times, students don't choose any option as they don't know the answer. Just keep one thing in mind. Most schools don't do negative marking while checking papers. That means they won't deduct any marks for incorrect answers. So even if you don't know the answer, don't leave it blank. The chances are 4 in 1, and if you can deduce the option and narrow your choices to 2 possible answers, there's a 50-50 chance of getting the answer right. Don't you think it's a shot worth taking? Mistake number 5. Failing to plan your time. Before you start writing, check for the number of questions and the amount of time you have. By doing this, you will realize roughly how long you have to answer each question. Try to spend no more than that much time on each question. But do leave some extra time in the end so that you can go back to that one difficult question that you couldn't answer properly before. Or you can go through the paper once to see if you want to make any changes. These were some of the avoidable yet common mistakes that students make. But, before you leave, we have one more important tip for you. Always remember that it is just one exam. Even if you don't get good marks, you can always try next time. Your marks and your grades don't define your potential. You have to remember that you have more potential in you to do better. So take a deep breath, relax, keep learning and keep growing with Letstute.